Hey, I'm Jade Keogh.
And hello from me too, I'm Grace Seeley.
We both play for the Millwall Lionesses and are sponsored by the No One Likes Us talking team.
Why not sponsor one of our teammates just like they do?
To find out how, just email
kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk.
I'll say that again.
kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk.
In your email, say who you want to sponsor and we'll get back to you with the sponsorship details and what to do next.
This is all you have to do and it will help us to get back to where we belong. Thank you, guys.
Now, enjoy our Millwall fan show from No One Likes Us talking team.
Come on, Mir.
Bethany Warren here, and you've joined us for the weekly Our Millwall fan show with the Millwall No One Likes Us talking team, which is broadcast every Friday evening. Enjoy!
Well, great performance at the Den from the Lions, but the Canaries were more flight of foot, excuse the pun. I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Debbie Julians.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Well, hello, Stan. You okay?
I'm fine, yes. And you?
Yeah, I'm delighted to have you here this evening. And Debbie?
Yes, I'm good.
That's great.
Great to speak to you all.
Hi, Jeff. How's it going?
It's going well, thanks, Eamonn. Everything's fine this end, and I'm looking forward to the show and, of course, looking forward to the match.
You all sound bright and sprightly, ready for the long haul of the show. Debbie, what did you think of that Millwall performance?
Oh, it was disappointing. Millwall had more shots and a higher expected goals ratio than Norwich, despite losing the game 3-2. We started well with Bradshaw, getting the early goal. Well, it was a house on fire, actually, wasn't it, really? And we were the better side. Norwich weren't that special, I've got to say. We lost that advantage just before the half-time due to a clever corner, some might say, or by not paying attention. They were lazy goals. It's up to you if you've taken another view, but that was mine. Then the collapse to two further Norwich goals, the first of which was avoidable. The second was a world-class finish. And late on, Fleming heads into the corner of the net. Fans and players turned up with the volume, and we were unlucky not to equalise through the pressure exerted. In the end, I have to agree with what Gary Rowett said post-match. We've had a couple of good moments. I think we've had about 20 shots to Norwich's 8 or 9. So it clearly shows that we've created enough opportunities, but Norwich ended up with those goals against the moment, and we ended up being defeated. That's tough to take. I've got to say, though, we were exhausted. We'd had so many games. We've had 7 games in 3.5 weeks. They didn't have that pressure and fatigue. So I think they're going to come back.
That's good. Stan, what did you think of Norwich's performance?
Well, I mean, Norwich, and it's just not this season, they are one of the best footballing teams around. I mean, at any time you sit down and watch Norwich, whether they're playing Millwall or playing anybody else, you know, they've always played the game in the right way. They can never be accused of being boring or negative. On Saturday, they started off a bit slow, which was unusual for them. But once they got into their rhythm, they was always going to be an handful, and that proved to be the case. But they are a good side, and I fully expect them to be there or thereabouts. But I mean, they've got their new manager coming, and because you see, but the other thing is with that, I mean, he's got a track record of promotion because he was the man that got Huddersfield promoted to the Premier League.
Yeah.
So he's well versed in that. But no, they're a good side, and you know they'll always be a good side. I mean, if they go up this season, I mean, it might well be that they're struggling again next season because they are a bit of a yo-yo club. The more know they're owning the Championship, and you know, I'm surprised it's taken this long to get going, really.
they showed us some dynamics that we didn't have. But it is true to say what Debbie said. I mean, our shots on goal were immense in a comparison to theirs, but they got bodies in the way, or we didn't put them in the right spots, whatever it is. But hey-ho, that team of ours could have got 2 more goals. I remember having the conversation with you, Stan, where in that last period of time there was 2 more goal opportunities that on another day we would have got. Good news about Tom Bradshaw getting the EFL Player of the Month. What do you think about that, Jeff?
No, I think it's well deserved, and he's had his critics in the past for not scoring enough goals, but I think he's proved that given the service, he can do it. What was it? Hat-trick against Sheffield United, I think. Equaliser against Burnley, and another goal on Sunday in the Norwich game. Let's hope that Robert Page, the Wales manager, has noticed this and may lead to a long-awaited return to the Wales squad for Tom.
Yeah, I think it'll be great if that could happen. OK, thanks for that, Jeff. Before we listen to Debbie Julians, here is Paul Owens from Fisher FC.
Hi, I'm Paul, a Millwall and Fisher FC supporter. There's always been strong links between our clubs, and as such, Fisher FC would like to remind Millwall season ticket holders and supporters club members that entry to watch Fisher is just a £5 if you show your card at the gate. Our next home game's in March on Tuesday the 14th versus Deal Town.
Well, that's if you're not going to see Swansea, but before we get to our first guest this evening, we'll listen to Debbie Julians talking about our sponsor, G&M Motors.
Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by family business G&M Motors of Gravesend and Meopham in Kent. They are Millwall fans too. They've been Honda dealers for over 50 years. At G&M Motors Gravesend, you can purchase a new Honda. At both Gravesend and Meopham, they have a combined range of over 150 quality used cars and ex-demonstrators to suit all budgets and lifestyles. They also offer a comprehensive range of repair and maintenance services to ensure your vehicle stays reliable, safe, and retains a higher value with trust. G&M Motors, Gravesend and Meopham are dear friends of the Julians family. From Lenny to Debbie, and also our Millwall Fan Show.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Debbie Julians. Many thanks to our sponsors G&M Motors of Gravesend and Meopham. Our first guest hails from Ilford and developed his footballing skills through the ranks at Tottenham Hotspur, where he made his first team debut at Stamford Bridge in March 1993, and he also gained 8 England under-21 caps during 94 to 95. After making more than half a century of appearances at Tottenham, the man, once tipped to replace Gary Mabbutt at Spurs, headed to Bermondsey to join Millwall in 1998. The Den was a place where he would make the greatest number of appearances in his footballing career. Between 1998 and 2004, he actually made 242 appearances for the Lions, scored 10 goals. He also kept the bench warm for a further 23 occasions during quite a golden era. He went on to ply his trade with Wycombe Wanderers and a number of non-league sides from Woking to Wivenhoe, where he hung up his boots in 2008. After that time, he has coached and managed non-league clubs right through to the date, and I believe it's Stanway that he's with at the moment. It is, of course, the one and only Stuart Nethercott. Hello, Stuart.
Hi, how you doing? You all right?
All right, Stuart.
Yeah, how you doing, guys? You okay? Having a good show?
Yeah. Good to hear from you, Stuart.
Yeah, good
absolutely.
to hear from you guys. Yeah, it's been a while.
Hi, Stuart.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, but good to be back on. Good to be back on.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you back on.
Yeah.
Really is.
Yeah.
Before I hand you over to the gang, last week we featured one of your teammates, Bobby Bowry, who remembered so much from the era in which you played for the Lions.
Yeah.
How do you remember Bobby?
Yeah, he was a good lad, very competitive lad in training and in games. he obviously had the stigma of the Palace thing going on. There was a couple of them at the time with Ricky Newman as well. So it was always going to be harder for them to sort of impress the crowd. You know, myself coming from Tottenham, it was they suffered it a bit more than what they probably did with Bobby and Ricky. So it was tough for them. Sometimes used to feel that he used to get the brunt of when we lost games and not playing well. But a really good lad, and I know I see what he's doing in the future. He's had his own agency and stuff like that. He's had some really good players on that agency as well. So yeah, really pleased for him. And he was a tidy player. And as I said, I just think he was never really given a chance really to impress like he should have really.
No. One of those things. Yeah. It's where you come from sometimes.
It is, to be fair. And, you know, obviously Billy Bonds was the manager at the time when we was there, and, you know, he was never going to survive long either, was he? So that's all history, and, you know, things have happened for a reason, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah,
but yeah, I was just saying, I think you made a good point. I think the crowd were a bit grumpy around that time, and it wouldn't have been easy for Bobby, but there you are. That's professional football. Certainly that's Millwall. I want to know something. You took last time you were on, I think it was, you talked about when you joined the Lions a couple of years back, wasn't it, when you were last on, and how the setup appealed to you, the new den and the ambitions of the club and so on.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned that Theo Paphitis impressed you. Was it Theo who convinced you to come?
I think it was. I think he was the mainstay of it. I went away to a couple of places before I moved to Millwall. I had a weekend in Stoke, which wasn't very nice. I had a weekend in Cardiff as well. So, but the pull of being in London was always the one for me. You know, Cardiff were a strong side. Stoke were a strong side at the time, but I just felt the pull of London. And thinking that what Theo had in his mind was something that really appealed to me, you know, and that was the turning point for that really. And you know, he sold it really, really well. And I think you can talk to other players as well. He was very good at that, you know, and I think with him coming in as chairman at the time, it needed a fresh impetus. Looked a little bit stale from the outside, but looking in from the inside, it was, you know, the kids that we had coming through at the time and a bit of experience around them. I think he looked at that and felt this could be a really, really good mix, and I think it did show that.
He worked out the ropes of professional football and Millwall. And I think the first year was a learning curve for him. But he was a fast learner. And certainly in the first few years of his chairmanship, he impressed me. Like a lot of things in football, it went a bit Pete Tong at the end.
Yeah. But I don't, you know, that sort of situation, I think he brought the fans back.
He did.
And, you know, and it's took, you know, these new guys that have come in to really put their mantle on the club now, and I think what Theo's era done was absolutely, you know, European football, FA Cup final, Championship winners. You know, you can roll it off your tongue, and you know, and I really want these guys that are in there at the moment to really succeed, and I do sense that. I do sense that the club is turning itself around again, and this is sort of their second. It could be their second coming, as I say, and I just believe that there's something special that's going to happen. I feel it. I feel it. You know, with looking at, you know, the attendances now. That the attendances are getting full houses again, and the away support at away games is massive again, and that brings back memories to when we was doing it. You know, when we went up to the Championship, you could feel it was a full house every weekend. The crowds, the away fans, you know, massive turnouts again, and you just feel there's something that's about to happen. I think I really want this to happen for the club. But if it doesn't happen this year, then maybe we can really go for it again the season after, which is what we've done a couple of times. So Theo put the club in an absolute perfect position. As you said, it went Pete Tong at the end. But, these guys have took the baton on, and hopefully, as I said, they can take it on to the next level.
Stuart, Stan here, mate. You mentioned your best pairing as a centre-back being with Sean Dyche. And now Mark McGee was one of the best managers you worked under.
Yeah.
But how about those guys guarding the net like Nigel Spink and Tony Warner featured most during your time with us?
Yeah.
How was it playing in front of those two?
Yeah, they were, Spinko obviously was coming to the end of his career. Massive appearance. He was a really, really, really nice guy as well. Really, really enjoyed playing with Spinko. But the emergence of Tony coming was really, really, really good. To get a reserve goalkeeper from Liverpool. He did. He's obviously got the nickname Bonus because he's picking up bonus sitting on the bench. You know what I mean? So, but no, great guy. I've always liked goalkeepers that have got a voice. Don't mind clattering into people. Yeah, don't mind clattering into people as well. He gave me a few knees in the back. Tony. But we had Willie Garou as well at the same time, who really was a really good backup goalkeeper. Any other club, he'd probably be in their first team. And Tony was out for a spell, and Willie come in and done a great job for us. So at the time, them two were really battling it out, and I think Willie, in the end, he saw that Tony was going to be the number one, and he ended up going to Swansea and had a really good career there. So, all the guys, Tony left after the cup final, I believe, or before the cup final. Yeah, after the cup final, and he had a decent career going on from that afterwards as well. So yeah, really was lucky to play with three really good goalkeepers, and they were the three great lads. Yeah, really great lads.
Hi, Stuart. It's Debbie
Hi,
here.
you all right? You okay?
Yes, yeah, great, thank you. I love the bonus bit there. That's hilarious.
Yeah, we had a number plate with bonus on it. That was a fun
Oh,
bit.
really?
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, really good. Yeah.
You made your greatest number of playing appearances with Millwall. You have previously mentioned the atmosphere created by the fans at the Den on match days.
Yeah.
What were they like on away days?
Yeah, but really, really good. I obviously come when it was a little bit sketchy with the fans. The ground was half empty, and the away fans, you probably end up with 30 or 20 fans, 40 fans, or whatever. But the away fans, as it got better, it became a home game for us in the end. And so I keep going back to today, and I feel that that's happening now. And I think they're really turning up at grounds. Well, they've always been great at away games anyway, but I feel that they're making their presence heard now. And I think, I haven't done an away trip for a while, so I wouldn't know. But when I was playing, they were very special, and as they always say, the 12th man or whatever. But they do outsing a lot of clubs, even in the away games. The home games is just is a given. You know what I mean? They make it as hostile as however they want it to make it hostile. And the away games is just they make the noise, and they really do get behind you, which does help. Really helps.
Yeah, it's so true. It almost makes, my dad used to say it makes you like a Superman. So that's great.
Yeah, it does. It gives you that. It gives you that sort of, put your shoulders back and think, these guys have made the journey. We've got to give it our best shot and really give it to them. And especially the way the cost of living and stuff now. A lot of fans are making these trips. I think we've sold out of Reading at the weekend, haven't we? And they're selling out at home now. So the buzz is back, and the lads at this present time are are performing and got themselves in a really good position with 10 games to go. Absolute great.
Yeah,
position. So, yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Stuart, it's Jeff again.
Hi, mate.
I don't know if you realise, you probably do realise that Debbie's father was the great Millwall centre forward Len Julians.
Okay, yeah.
Who I think, is that right, Debbie? He's from Tottenham, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's Tottenham born and bred.
And I think it may have even crossed with you, Stuart, but Len was at Tottenham as part of the youth system. I'm not sure what years that was. Debbie will tell us.
That led up to 93.
So you were probably there as a schoolboy or a youth team player, Stuart?
Yeah. Well, that was sort of my era at Spurs. You know, I was probably 90, 91 was when I become an apprentice over there. So
we would have seen each other there then.
Yeah, my memory's not as great as it used to be, so I'll have to look up that one. To be fair, I'll have to look up. Yeah, definitely have to look up. And yeah, I'll have a look as soon as I come off here. I'll have a look, and then definitely.
Yeah, I wanted to refer back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier. That Captains Evening.
Yeah, brilliant.
You know, in the end there were 5 captains. It was billed to be 6, but one was inevitably delayed. So, but you were very entertaining that night, Stuart. I must say,
thank you.
It was.
It was good.
It was a very, very good evening, wasn't it?
I thought it was something that a lot of clubs, you know, I don't know about other clubs, but I thought the idea was really good, you know, to get all us guys back at one evening and to get, you know, 5, as you said, 5 captains in one room was really, really, really good evening, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed being back and seeing the boys again. You know, we've all got our own stories and stuff for different eras and different squads and stuff like that. But it's all the same. It's all the same. We was all brought up the same sort of way, and you know, Dunny and Robbo was brought up in our sort of camp, and you know, they took the stick that they had to take by us, and as they said, it made them the player, the person, of what they are now. And I had the same as an apprentice at Spurs. You know, I had a tough group with me, so it helps. And I've always said that, you know, whatever group of pros you're around as an apprentice, they always make you or they break you. So it's changed now. You know, I understand that the game's moved on and stuff like that, but I think it's where training grounds now are split with youth team over a certain area and first team over a certain area. I don't get it. I don't get that. I don't understand it. I'd have them all under one roof, and they need to mix. And you know, if this young lad in the youth team goes into the first team, maybe his first child, maybe he's never met these players before, and he's starting from scratch. And I just don't get that. I just don't get that way inclined to it. You know, I'm a little bit old school, and I'd have them all together under one roof, as I said, eating together, mixing together. But it just doesn't happen now, and you know, I think that's something that's a bit sad, really.
Stuart, your coaching and management career is quite something, and with that in mind, the working lives of managers and assistants in the Championship so far this season has been perilous, to say the least. 14 out of 24 clubs have already made at least one change, and 5 clubs have changed their managers twice so far, with Slav and Bilic the latest to go. What's your take on why this is happening regularly and repeatedly, and what's your ideal formula for the success of any club?
Well, it's tough, isn't it? I think, you know, I'll take our club for instance. You know, they've stuck by Gary. You know, his results have been, you know, not so great, and then he gets on a run of good results, and you know, you see the fans want to get him out, and someone else come in, but he's done very well, and I think that's why we're not a sacking club, really. I think we know as a group of supporters that the time's up for whoever. think Neil was probably the manager, legend at the club. He knew his time was up. He knew it, and he walked away. But there's some managers that will just stay there and just hang in there, and then the fans it gets worse for them, doesn't it? But chairman these days, it's an instant success, isn't it? That's what they want, and no team's got a divine right to get promoted. I know that these chairmen are over budgeting, and they're trying to get out of that championship, but that is a tough league. And I'm up the road from Ipswich, and with the support they're getting at the moment, away support, home support, but the guy that they brought in at the moment, he's a top manager. The guy from Man United that they brought in, top guy, speaks well, and you can see him progressing with this team and progressing with the football club as well. And he's left alone. He's left alone. Bring his own players in. Bring his own staff in or whatever. And that's how it should be. But I think it's chairman that start meddling into the situation, and I think that's when you lose total grip of your job and the management and the players, and and I think that's where it all sort of goes wrong, and this is where meddling chairman sort of cause a lot more trouble than what they should do, really.
Hi Stuart, it's Debbie again.
Yeah.
Millwall have given Gary Rowett time to do a manager's job.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Millwall's progress this season under Gary's leadership?
Yeah, really, I'm really impressed this season. I think he stuck with a formation that he likes. Right, he's come away from it a little bit in recent weeks with the three at the back. Always seems to want to play two up front, which is good. Always like that sort of formation. And you've got a striker that's in top form at the moment, or two strikers in top form at the moment. Everyone seems to want to play for him. He seems a decent guy. I met him once. He seems a really nice guy. And I think he's what we needed. He knows the league. He's got a good backing. He's got Robbo, the two Robbos in his staff. Who know the football club, so that's always an added bonus to have sort of an ex-player in your mix. So that always helps. But yeah, I've been really impressed with him. So hopefully, he'll continue, and hopefully the team can do what they can do this season. And it does, as I said, if it doesn't happen this season, it's a right good go for next season. And I think that's the way to look at it. But the league's so hard. It's a hard league.
Yeah.
It's unforgiving. You can't afford to have one bad game, or as we saw the weekend. You lose a game, you drop out of them playoff positions, and that's how ruthless this league is, really. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he seems to have the team believe in him.
It is that, and that's what it is. We had it with Mark when he come. Someone that knew the league. No disrespect to Keith Stevens and Alan McCleary. They were great. They were great at the time, but things wasn't happening for them, and Theo decided they had to go. Went for Mark, and it was probably the best decision the club made at that sort of time. Best decision ever. Whatever Theo's decisions was good all the way through, really, but maybe not Dave Tuttle, but other than that, they was all right. But no, that was it was no. What they're doing at this present time is they're overachieving again. They're punching over their own weight, as the old sayings go, and but they're in there, they're in the mix, and it's a toss of a coin. As I said, massive 10 games now for the club. Let's just see where it takes us after 10 games. 30 points. Let's see what we can get out of that.
Yeah. Wise words there. Wise words.
Yeah. Cheers.
Well, Stuart, there's never enough time to get all our questions in.
Right.
But before I let you go, Stuart, as you know, it's a tradition on the show for our guests to give a score prediction ahead of our next game when we travel to Reading on Saturday. So what do you think?
Well, they're not so great, are they, at the moment, Reading? So
No.
they're a bit of a downturn. And with the support we've got, I think we'll get a win 2-1. We'll get a win 2-1. Yeah.
Win 2-1 is a common statement here every week. I can tell you, but that'll do nicely.
Next week, and I'm going next week. I'm going to Huddersfield next week. Really
right.
Yeah, really. It's my first game of the season. Really looking forward to that. So they'll probably lose next week. So
no, bring them luck. Bring them luck. You've done it before.
That's it. Yeah.
Anyhow, thanks, Stuart, for coming on to the show.
No problem.
Brilliant as always, and so much more to explore.
Yeah.
All the best to you, your family, and hopefully we can get back for some more in the not too distant future. And next time I'll get Phil Coleman on that he can actually talk to you on air. Or you can go round each other's houses and talk about it.
Look forward to that. All right, mate.
All right. Bye, Stuart.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, we'll take a break there and listen to what Bethany Warren has to say about an evening with Roy Alana.
On Tuesday, the 14th of March, ahead of our game against Swansea City, Roy Lana, who is known for his gallantry at London Bridge in confronting 3 machete-wielding terrorists who murdered and caused mayhem in the area on the night of June the 3rd, 2017. He will be at the Lions Centre in Ballina Road from 5:30pm. The Lion of London Bridge books will be available to purchase, and Roy will sign those books ahead of the main event at 6:15. Our very own Jeff Burnige will then host Roy in discussion and bring questions from the floor. You can hear the story of Roy's hurt, reform, and his ongoing fight for compensation. Arthur Kitchener, singer and songwriter, will also perform Roy Lana, the Lion of London Bridge. The evening closes at 7:15pm to allow fans to get their seats for the match. For tickets, contact k.bennett@millwallcommunity.org.uk. So let me say that again. For tickets, contact k.bennett@millwallcommunity.org.uk. And on the night, please make a donation if you can to the Harvey Brown MPS Society, who support families with MPS and similar disorders that cause a range of progressive disabilities.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have no one likes us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Debbie Julians. Roy recovering from his physical and psychological injuries and the further hurt of no recognition. Listen to Jeff Burnige and Roy Lana explore those matters at the Lions Centre from 5:30pm ahead of our game against Swansea City on the 14th. It's not far away now. Anyway, let's hear from Ellis Barr.
Ellis here. Thank you for watching my videos. Now to hear what the Millwall Lionesses and Romans have been up to, and to hear who is next up for Gary Rowett and the Lions. Come on, Millwall.
Ellis, thanks for posting that March is Cerebral Palsy Month, and there's some good issues surrounding people with those conditions have come to the fore. The Lionesses were busy, and Jeff Burnige put the full report in to Maritime Radio.
This is Jeff Burnige reporting on Millwall Lionesses. They stay third in the London and South East Regional League after their close 1-0 victory over Enfield Town at the Queen Elizabeth II Stadium, which is the home of their parent Men's National League club. Manager Jack Wheeler started 17-year-old midfielder Ellen Napper after her debut as a sub in last week's 2-2 draw with unbeaten Worthing. In the 16th minute, she rewarded her manager with the opening and eventually winning goal. A strong run down the left was capped off when she lobbed the keeper into the top right-hand corner. Lionesses defence was in control of the game and included the return to centre-back of Sophie Chapman, and she was partnering the young 17-year-old Hope Welsh. And also Julia Moulton played at right back, which is a new position for her. As the game went into the second half, Millwall's attacking play should have seen them add to their lead, with Emma Witter coming close on 2 occasions. 17-year-old midfielder Melissa Jones came on in the 73rd minute for her debut, which was A+. Her regular under-18 team had won an incredible 10-0 victory at Nottingham Forest in the Junior Premier League on the Saturday. But this 1-0 victory over Enfield was very welcome, and next Sunday the Lionesses return to their home at St Paul's Stadium in Rotherhithe. I caught up with manager Jack Wheeler, and these were his thoughts on the 3 points gained at Enfield.
Really pleased with today. We didn't potentially play to our full potential, but 3 points is 3 points. Sign of a good team when you don't potentially play to your the best of your ability, but manage to get yourself over the line. And I thought the girls managed the game really well and had a really professional performance. So really good that we had 2 of the under-18s make the step up to the first team, and one of the under-18s has gone through and managed to score, so got us over the line. But yeah, no, really pleased. We'd say that the last couple of weeks we've been building. We didn't play to as well as we did over the last couple of weeks today, but we managed to get the 3 points, which is the most important thing. It gives us a nice little running into New London next week.
Yeah, that's at home, isn't it? Next week, so 1:30 kick-off. Thank you very much, Jack.
No problem.
Yeah, well, thanks, Jeff. And it was good to see in the Southwark News yesterday that your report covered all 3 victories for the Lionesses, which made for a good weekend. We also have an update from Millwall Romans and Pride from Paul Loading, Romans player and chairman of both teams.
Hi everybody, it's Paul Loading from the Millwall Romans with a quick update for the week. And the Romans team have had a good break for the last couple of weeks, haven't been out playing at all, but still training hard, ready for a run of games up till the semi-final, which is due to be held at the end of April at St Paul's. The Pride team playing away this week over at the Titans 2 Brewers ground. Game started off quite well with certainly Pride playing the better football, but the marking from set pieces just wasn't there this week for some reason, and Titans managed to secure a couple of goals. Pride did win a penalty in the first half to bring it into 2-1 going into half time. The second half just didn't seem to go well for Pride at all. Following on from a couple of nice bits of play in the first half, second half just didn't seem to go and just wasn't there. I think we lost it a little bit through the midfield. I think the defence were trying to play a high line, but not really controlling that line good enough, with a few balls going over the top and leaving at least 2 goals with one-on-one with the keeper Rob. So it just didn't seem to be our afternoon in the second half, and unfortunately ended up losing the game 6-1. This weekend, the Romans are back in action. They're away at the West Ham ground. Right outside the West Ham ground, there's a pitch. It's an early kick-off at 11 o'clock. We're playing against Stonewall Unity. We haven't played them so far this season. Not too sure what they're going to be looking like. They are league winners from last year. Their results don't seem to be going as they seem to. But early kick-off, 11 o'clock at the East London Stadium. Disappointing result for the Millwall team on Saturday, playing at home to Norwich. Obviously, we're keeping a very close eye on the results coming in. We're really hoping that Millwall at least get into the playoff positions and hopefully get a nice place in the Premier League next year. With particularly that West Ham may come the other way and go down. But I think we're up for a good game this week. Reading, I'm going to say another positive 3-0 result.
Well, thanks for that, Paul. We'll take that all day long. That'd be wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Debbie, sounds like you might say tardy. I might say sluggish. You might say a bit reversal focused. They seem to have plenty of action, but just the one goal. But 3 points for the first time in 2023. How do you think they will finish this season after such a promising start?
The Lionesses, well, I wouldn't say tardy. They had an early goal after 16 minutes, so that's Ellen Napper, bless her, scored. She's a young second game. It's the second game, so she's come from the under-18s, and the manager's given the under-18s game time. It's excellent. So in the first team, brilliant. They've had really difficult run of games since the new year, extremely difficult. Drew with Worthing leaders, that's not bad, is it, last week? And they've been unbeaten. It was a hard-fought game. And as going back to what Jeff was saying, that they beat Enfield. That's not bad either. So got most of the hard games out of the way. Third at the moment. Let's hope that they stay on third. Playing, as everybody said previously, the new London Lionesses on Sunday at St Paul's. The kick-off is 1:30. Let's get there, guys. And it really is, the girls are so tenacious. They get right in there. And it's very gratifying that we have a manager that it wants to bring on the youngsters and mix in with the main team, and a new goalie, Hope Smith.
Yeah, I spoke with Steph Patchy yesterday. She's very positive about where the Lionesses are going, and she sees this as a team that's going to take us back to where they ought to belong.
Yeah,
Jeff,
I think so.
Jeff, the under-18s had a great win over Actonians and now face Impact Women from north of the river in the semi-final of the Capital Cup. However, please tell us some more about this side. What can we look forward to now and in the future?
The under-18 side, they've done absolutely fantastic this season. It took them a few games to get going, but they haven't lost for ages. They're in 2 semi-finals, which will be later this month. Last weekend, I mentioned briefly in my main report that the under-18s had won. And as I think I also mentioned, it was a staggering 10-0 result away at Nottingham Forest in their Junior Premier League match. They just blew Forest away, and I think Forest's morale just went down because we started fantastically well, I am told. Can't wait for this week. They're playing Ascot, not a big name in football, but they're associated with Reading, which is a Premier League club. They've got a very good side, and we lost 1-0 at there earlier before Christmas. So let's hope they do well this week and then go on to their semi-finals, trying to bring some silverware to the Lionesses.
Yeah, and that's Reading Women that they're associated with, yeah?
It's one club.
Yeah, it's all the one.
It's one club, yeah.
And that's it.
I don't know how close the relationship is, but I happened to see the away game at Ascot, and they are a very good side. Okay. They won 1-0, but I think we've improved a lot since then. So it's our chance to get back to them and get back at them, and that will stand us in good stead for the run-in because that league's very close.
Yeah. No, they're doing well. Stan, the Millwall Pride side are finding it tough this season and still welcome anyone to come and train with them on Tuesday evening at St Paul's. Romans are back in action this week. Paul sounds positive, and that GFSN semi-final against Dublin, not far off. Really surprised it's actually taking place at St Paul's because previously they've held these at neutral grounds. But playing there, how do you think they will do?
Well, I've said this before. It seems to me that everything they touch turns to gold. I mean, it's just an ongoing success thankfully, week in and week out. And when they do get the odd hiccup, it's just it tends to just be a one-off,
Yeah.
But I think they're going to do. I think they're going to do quite well. I honestly do, and because I've just never known anything like it. They just continually go from strength to strength.
Yeah.
And I just think that, I should imagine from a season point of view, I wouldn't have thought there's too many games left. I mean, I don't know how long their seasons are, but because then we then get into pre-season and all the rest of it, or the close season, then pre-season. But no, they just I don't know what it is, but they just everything they touch turns to gold, and they've done, and I just think that will continue, and and all credit to them.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that all our teams get the success that they desire.
Absolutely.
Anyway, when Saturday comes, we face Reading in the Select Car Leasing Stadium for a 3 p.m. kick-off. For us, the influential Billy Mitchell, Mason Bennett, Callum Stiles and Tyler Bowry continue to be on the sidelines. The Lions were defeated by the Royals back in August by 1-0 at the Den. Their form has dithered of late. Their last 5 games are returned 2 wins and 3 losses. They now sit in 15th place in the Championship with a minus 16 goals against them. Despite our home loss to Norwich, the odds on a Millwall win has actually shortened to 21-20. A draw is 12-5 and a Reading win is 5-2. It looks like the bookies see us getting something out of this one. So, I'm going to ask you for a prediction and your thoughts. Jeff, what about you?
I think we'll win. I think the attitude this week will have been, we had a hiccup last week. We're a little bit unfortunate to lose that game to Norwich. And I think they all realise they can put that to bed with 3 points on Saturday. And I do believe we'll win. As for a score, I think it might be 2-0.
That's good enough for me, Jeff. Stan, how about you?
Well, yeah, I mean, everything points to a successful day against Reading at their new name stadium. I mean, but yeah, no, I mean, hopefully, if you go on form and providing we apply ourselves, then we should win the game. I mean, I've got no doubt about that. I mean, they started off okay, but they're struggling desperately now, Reading, aren't they? They really are.
What about a score?
Oh, a score? Yeah, well, if we win the game, I'll go 3-1. That'll do me.
That'll do nicely. How about you, Debbie? What do you think?
Yeah, that will do nicely. What do I think? I think they won, beat us before at the Den. I think it's revenge time. I think, as we said earlier, I think the fatigue was in before where they had so many games. They've had a rest this week. They've come back with determination. And Reading is sinking a little bit. We need to stay up there in the top 6. So let's... I'm sure they go for it, highly go for it, and supporters get behind them too. And I always will say 2-1. Awfully sorry, but that was my dad's favourite winning game. So 2-1.
Another 2-1. Well, everyone backs us to win so far this evening. That's wonderful news. We face Swansea at home on Tuesday next. Always difficult to predict without consideration of our Saturday performance. But what do you think the outcome of the game is likely to be? Don't discuss the tactics. Do you think we'll win, we'll draw, we'll lose? Stan, what do you reckon?
Well, we should win. We should do that. With regards to Swansea, it's interesting because this time last season they were doing quite well, and he seems to have fallen apart. And but then in the transfer window that's just gone, they let a number of what were supposedly good players go, and they didn't get any of their targets. So there seems to be a bit of difficulty internally within the club. So they're not exactly on top form, but. But what we do know is that Swansea, when they come, they're good at keeping possession of the football, as they proved last season.
Yeah.
We've got to make sure that we don't keep giving them the ball again.
That's the way forward. Jeff, how about you?
I think it's always difficult to get 6 points from 2 games so close together, but I think this week's the exception. I've got a feeling that they were so fed up with losing that game last week. They've had, as Debbie said, they've had a week without a game, and I think we are going to get 6 points. But I think the Swansea game might be a bit of a struggle, so I'm going for 1-0 for that one.
That'll do nicely. So a double win all round. Well, on that, we'll definitely take a break and hear Bethany talk about how to sponsor or donate to the Millwall Community Trust.
The work of the Millwall Community Trust makes a big difference for people in Lewisham, Southwark and North Kent. Times are getting tougher, and to help them make a difference, you can help too, by making a donation. Give a one-off donation or a monthly amount. Your support is crucial in raising vital funds for their work, or by fundraising for them. If you are running, swimming, cycling, cooking, dancing, parachuting or anything else, why not do it for the Millwall Community Trust? Interested? Then either email inquiries@millwallcommunity.org.uk or phone 0207 740 0503. I'll say that again. Email inquiries@millwallcommunity.org.uk or phone 0207 740 0503. Thanks if you can.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have a No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Debbie Julians. If you can do any of those things that Bethany mentioned, it will go a long way to support the Millwall Community Trust in supporting the needs of the community. Our final guest tonight is a Millwall fan and much more. And she joins us as a fan of the Dugout. She can be seen in many guises around the Den, not only on match days, but throughout the week too. With no more of ado, let's welcome Ellen Webster. Hello, Ellen.
Hello,
Ellen.
Hello, Eamon. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Ellen.
Good evening.
Yeah, well, you can say good evening, hi, hello.
Hi, you okay?
They all enjoyed talking with you, and that's the key. Now, look, welcome to our studio. It's your first time on the show. We have often heard from Kelly Webster, your other half, with whom you share the responsibility for the Lions Food Hub. But before I pass you over to the panel, can you tell us how is the hub going and are donations matching the need for those that you support?
Thank you, Eamon. The hub's going really well, sadly, but on the good side.
Yeah.
We've got about 50 families that come on a Friday now. We've hit over 50. Loads of donations are coming in. We get them weekly. We get them dropped off at the Community Trust during the week. Match day donations is absolutely brilliant. They're just continuously coming. There's all of our users are absolutely overwhelmed with the amount of stuff they get each week. So it's going really, really well. Hardly low, really. It breaks your heart seeing them come. They have to get their stuff, but doing good.
Yeah, I don't think no one expected to see the permanency of food hubs being the case in the 21st century. But never mind that. What you guys do is absolutely fantastic, out of this world, and you deserve all the support and praise that you get. I'll hand you over to Debbie now.
Hi, Ellen. I'm going to add on there is...
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, darling. You meet them with people that come to the hub with such empathy and care, and that really matters to those people. So you certainly wear more than one cap at the Den. I'd say it runs. The Millwall runs through your blood veins, don't they? Tell me how you first became a Millwall supporter.
Well, sadly, my family come from the other side of the water. big West Ham fans. So I was at secondary school and my friends were going to see their first game at Millwall and asked if I wanted to go along. I was 13 and I went to the Old Den. I only went to a few games at the Old Den, but I went to the Old Den and that's how it started. And I just loved the team. I loved what I see then, and me and my friends at school carried on going, and that's how it come along.
Wonderful stuff. And then you moved across the river.
I moved over to this side when we was young.
Yeah.
So it was this side of the water that my friends were at, and they were going to Millwall. So that's where it started, and I've not looked back, and I never will.
Good stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. You really are fantastic, both of you.
Ellen, it's Stan here. Like me, you have seen a few games over the years. All right. But what Millwall game is your most memorable and why?
Oh, gosh. Southend away, 2015. Me and Kelly hadn't long been together. I went to an away game at Southend. It was a league game, 28th of December. My favourite player at the time was David Ford, goalkeeper. Absolutely lovely man. Went there, we won 4-0. At 90 minutes, I was standing directly behind the goal and David turned around, looked at me. I was there with Dave Hart and all of his family as well. Looked direct at me and just said, "How long's left?" And I sort of crumbled at the time. They all around me just laughed as well because he asked me directly how long, and I sort of just, I don't know, I was lost for words then. And I looked at the clock and it was 3 minutes left because it had gone into extra time, but because we was winning 4-0. And that would just be a game that actually stuck with me because it was, I hadn't really spent a lot of time, as much as I worked at Millwall, you don't really get to speak to the players or people that you look up to and whatever. So it was for him to turn around, look directly at me, ask me how long left. It was a thing that I'd always remember, and that was one of the best days ever because it was a really good day and we won 4-0.
Good.
Hi Ellen, it's Jeff here. First thing I'd like to say is we're all so proud of what you and Kelly do. I'm so proud of what you and Kelly do, I can't tell you. And you're always a cheerful face around the Den. And when you come to Lionesses games at St Paul's, wonderful. I think you're two great fans. Now listen, the team that Gary Rowett has built is having some success this season. Do you seriously think we're going to make the playoffs or possibly even get promoted through the playoffs?
Let's hope so. I always say being there and seeing it all the time is great. Seeing the team, fantastic. They've worked so hard this year. I'd love that they will be in the playoffs. I've got my heart that they will be in the playoffs. I'd like to think myself that yes, we can do this and go all the way. Why not?
Why not is definitely the big question. Why not? And I haven't got anything.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, let's be hopeful. Anyhow, some interesting thoughts there, Ellen.
Let's do it. Yeah.
As you will know from Kelly, all who are present, including guests, are asked to make a prediction for the next Millwall game, which is where you're going on Saturday to Reading. So what do you think that will finish? What will the score be? Give us a predicted score.
Yes, I'm going on a nice little jolly out, and I'm looking forward to it because I've not done many this season. I would like to think we're going to win 2-1.
2-1. Now
that got out there now, I've got faith in them. 2-1.
Yeah. 2-1. Well, there's a few have put their faith in 2-1 tonight, I can tell you. Anyway, Ellen, thanks for joining us this evening. It wasn't as bad as I think you thought it might be. All the best to you and Kelly and your family, and hopefully we'll hear from you once again down the line. Bye, Ellen.
Yeah, cheers, Ellen.
Ellen, you've got to come on again.
Thank you, Eamonn. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, come on again, Ellen. Come on again, please. Make it soon.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Well, that was nice, Ellen. Ellen Webster, a woman of many guises at Millwall. Anyway, what we'll do now is listen to Debbie Julians talking about the exact thing that Ellen and Kelly Webster do so well.
Let's hear from Harvey Brown.
Have you heard of the Lions Food Hub? That Millwall Lioness, Kelly Webster, is involved. Don't forget to help the Lions Food Hub if you can. Thank you.
As Harvey said, they need your support. If you can help, and you can make a one-off or a regular monetary donation at Banquet, that is BANKUET, you will find them online. Insert www.banquet.co.uk/Lions Food Hub into your browser. I'll say that again, www.banquet.co.uk/Lions Food Hub. And the Lions Food Hub is all one word. On match days, you can make food and toiletry donations at the Lions Food Hub, which is opposite the 1885 bar at the Cold Blow Lane end of the ground. Alternatively, you can also contact the team via the Lions Food Hub Twitter or Facebook sites.
I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Jeff Burnige, Stan Godwin and Debbie Julians. Well, as you heard from Ellen there, it's a bit of a tragedy that they're doing what they're doing. But it is 2 years that have passed since that food hub came into being, which certainly for us is a bittersweet celebration. We did not expect food hubs to become permanent. Nonetheless, Kelly and Ellen Webster, who we spoke with just now, all the hubs team, their sponsors and those that donate are making such a difference in supporting those that are at risk. You can help them, if you can, as the country sadly remains in recession with prices for everything rapidly rising. We're all looking forward to when Saturday comes, but in the meantime, here are a few matters of interest for Millwall fans.
An evening with Roy Lana, hosted by Jeff Burnige, takes place on Tuesday the 14th of March from 5:30 p.m. The Lion of London Bridge books will be available to purchase, and Roy will sign books ahead of the main event at 6:15. The event will finish at 7:15 ahead of the Millwall game against Swansea to allow fans to get to their seats. Entry can be gained by booking in advance and making a donation on the night to the Harvey Brown MPS Society, who support families with MPS and similar disorders that cause a range of progressive disabilities. Book now by emailing, and this is all in small case, k.bennett@millwallcommunity.org.uk. I'll repeat that, k.bennett@millwallcommunity.org.uk to reserve your seat. Ticket availability is limited.
Next Friday, Gary returns from a necessary layoff to host the show with the panel of Pat, Dave and Ted. There will be a couple of guests and a review of the Reading and Swansea games and what is coming up. Additionally, Dockers Day will return for the first time since 2019 for our game against Huddersfield Town at the Den on Saturday the 18th of March. Our Phil Coleman will be there with his teammates of the FA Youth Cup winning side of 1978-79 to meet and greet the Dockers. Former Dockers from London Docks had a great tradition in following and will be guest on that day. Watch out for further details.
Ahead of our game against Huddersfield on Saturday week, you can attend the Lions Centre from 1:30 p.m. until 2 p.m.
for a Millwall Community Trust and Fans for Diversity, who will jointly host their second Pathways at Millwall. This event will focus on refereeing. A panel of people from different refereeing backgrounds will be hosted by Anwar Uddin, former footballer and now assistant manager at Aldershot. During the match in the afternoon, as Millwall take on Huddersfield, attendees will be given a task to complete, with a debrief online the following week. Every participant at the event will receive a free ticket for the Championship clash at the Den. Limited spaces are available, so book early to avoid disappointment. Also, you heard from our sponsored Lionesses Jade Keogh and Grace Seeley at the beginning of the show, so why not sponsor a Lionesses kit like us to help them get themselves back to where they belong in the women's pyramid? If you are an organisation, you can get fantastic exposure opportunities for your business. People like Victory Goalkeeper Gloves, Mr. Andy Rothery, Impetus Women's Football, Megan, Jay and Lola Baxter, Gianluca Sardi, and as mentioned, our good selves. On top of seeing your name on the club website, you will also be able to enjoy a range of benefits. To see what this might cost, get in touch with the Lionesses by emailing Kelly Webster. She is on kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk. That's all one word, kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk.
Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team bring reports from our games both home and away, and both the Lions and Lionesses, and updates on Mill Community Matters too on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM, or you can pick it up on their website. Additionally, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, Tumblr and Twitter social media sites and all popular podcast sites. Thanks and good night, Debbie.
Good night.
Thanks and good night, Stan.
Good night.
And thanks and good night, Jeff.
Good night, Eamonn. Good night to the team. Good night to all the listeners. So from Jeff, it's good night.
Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Good night and many thanks for listening to the No One Likes Us Talking team.